All right. I got voted in to run through the got 46 slides to get through. It's not much. I mean, it's just, but then have just questions afterwards. Our goal was to provide some basic information on structure, meetings, departments, procedures, resources, um, and we want to give it to you in an electronic document. We'll email you out a link where it's got some links on it where if you need to reference something, you can just click right on it. Um, all right. Well, we'll go to the first one. I also want to say, hopefully, this will. You're going to get a lot of stuff next week at MTAS training, so we just tried to keep it to local. There's a little bit outside, but primarily local. Sure. I believe it's interactive. Yeah, back in the day. I think Chris McDonald is the last one to take it, but I believe it's all virtual and you can like punch a button and to ask a question. I believe so, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Just if you don't run off the road. Yeah. Okay. Um, some of these I'm going to read portions, and then I hate getting up here and just reading, but some of them I will, some of them I've got some other ideas. But this right here is about the city manager commission charter. There are several different options. I believe there's general law, mayor strong, but anyway, ours is city manager commission charter. A municipal charter is the basic document that defines the organization, powers, functions, and essential procedures of the city government. It is comparable to the Constitution of the United States or a state's constitution. The charter is therefore the most important legal document of any city. Charters are granted either directly or by state legislature by the way of local legislation or indirectly under a general municipal corporation law following a referendum vote of the proposal by the affected population. The state municipal leagues can provide information about the form of charter provided in each of the state constitutions. The city of Fairview, Tennessee was incorporated July 28, 1959 under the Uniform City Manager Commission Charter as set out in the Tennessee Code Annotated. And I actually have a copy of the letter. And on my computer. So it's kind of neat to look back at history. And I mean, 1959 is not that long ago, but it's still kind of neat. This is our structure. We all work for and serve the citizens. Then the Board of Commissioners, who is as you know, elected by the citizens. Then the board appoints a city manager. The city manager runs the day-to-day affairs. Currently, we have 8 departments. We have administration, which essentially I'm in that department. We have an economic development officer in that department, city recorder in that department, and public relations and a public information officer in that department. Then we have police and fire, which police and fire, our public safety takes up about 80% of our employee population. We have finance department, city courts, public works, planning and codes, and parks. As you see down there, we do take advantage of some outsourced services. Some of those we will look at moving in-house somewhere down the road. Some of them we won't. But I feel like right now we've got a pretty good setup, and it's working really well as far as our structure. Okay. Role of the commissioners. The board acts as a body when exercising their legislative duties, taking official action only by the passage or adoption of ordinances, resolutions, or motions. Ordinances, resolutions, or motions can only be acted upon by a quorum of the commission and only in a public meeting. The rest of it just says that only the board has all the power, not any individual member. The Fairview Board of Commissioners is comprised of a mayor and 4 members of the commission. Board responsibilities. The board is responsible for developing the long-range vision for the community. It also establishes the policies that affect the overall operation of the city. The board focuses on the city's goals and major projects, as well as long-term planning such as community growth, land use, development, capital improvements, financing, and strategic planning. The board also adopts the city's annual budget, appropriating all funds. As such, must approve all claims on the city's finances. Likewise, the board must approve all bids, contracts, and any other agreements that financially binds the city. The role of the mayor provides over all meetings of the Board of Commissioners. The mayor has a seat, a voice, a vote, but no veto on all matters before the board. The mayor also has signature authority on all ordinances, resolutions, contracts, deeds, bonds, and agreements made in the name of the city unless designated otherwise by a resolution. We put this little thing in here, and this is really for any chair of any board. Disruptions happen on occasion. It is the duty of the chair to maintain control of the meeting, decorum both between board members and within the audience. Audience disruption of a meeting is a violation if the person substantially obstructs or interferes with the meeting by physical action or verbal utterance. The violation of this section is a Class B misdemeanor. Types of meetings. Regular meetings you're aware of. This, I believe you're fixing to be at your 4th regular meeting. They're on the 1st and 3rd Thursdays here at City Hall. Special meetings or can be called, but there's a 12-hour written notice. There's a few other little intricacies, but sometimes things happen where we need to come together and take a vote, or you guys do. Public hearings happen during a meeting that has to be sufficiently publicized, and it's to allow the public to speak on things that affect them directly or their property. Sign-in sheets are passed around the meeting and attendance for the record, and they can sign up, and there's no limit for the number of citizens allowed to speak or the amount of time they may speak. Workshops are sessions, open discussion, information sharing between the board, city manager, and often involve additional staff members, board members, or individuals. A lot of times we might bring in so-called experts in their field that know a lot more than we do about the topic to hopefully explain it a little better. No votes are taken. It's just informational, but it's usually it can be a good tool to get information to the board. Executive sessions are closed sessions between the board, city manager, and city attorney regarding pending or potential litigation. All information discussed within the executive session remains confidential. Executive sessions are announced to the public and often occur during or at the conclusion of board meetings. The board will return to the meeting after an executive session to adjourn the regular meeting. This allows for any necessary action to be taken within the regular meeting scope. With the exception of executive sessions, all other meetings above are public with minutes recorded and maintained by the city recorder. Schedule. I believe we already went over the 1st and 3rd Thursdays. You've been getting your agendas and packets. We usually get it out before Thursday, but by ordinance, we have to have them out by the Monday of the meeting week. But usually, well, isn't it usually you try to get it out by Wednesday? Okay. But we try to get to you as quickly as possible. Yes. I believe it is. It is public. It's on the website. How's that go out?
That out to the all the planning commission and some of the city staff, and then Richard has it posted on the website. I'm sure if you would like to be in on the email, he can add you.
And this is the meeting order, which y'all are familiar with by now. Same thing. And this is Robert's Rules of Orders, just another little reminder. But y'all have gone through that in your December 10th training. Ways to vote, and the only thing about the most I can't remember the last time. I don't know that I've seen a ballot vote, but most everything we do is roll call. But I believe if there have been on occasion, maybe when folks were appointing people to a board or something, they may have called somebody asked for a ballot, but there are no secret ballot votes allowed. Chain of command. All individual department heads and staff employees of the city of Fairview report to and are responsible to the city manager. The city attorney generally reports to the city manager on executive and administrative matters and to the board on legislative matters. BOC reports to the chair or president of such board, all members of all boards, regardless of who appointed them and what function they serve within the city's government structure, are part of the executive branch, making the city manager an appropriate resource and informational source for all boards and the appropriate final stop for questions and concerns. If a legal concern or need should arise, the board should vote on whether it needs to seek the services of the city attorney, who will then represent the boards unless prohibited from doing so due to a conflict of interest. Yes. Where it says all individual department heads? Usually when under Robert's rules, I think this is a Robert's rules things, most boards funnel it through the chair. Any communication, I mean, it's not that you can't communicate outside of that, but most of the time, like, it's just like at a meeting when you ask the chair, I'd like to speak, or it's just uh, we took some of this language from a previous um, training session. Uh, the only thing, the chain of command, it's usually if you funnel it through the less middlemen you have, usually it's a better communication product. Yes. Correct. Correct. Oh, I agree with you there. Hold on one sec.
I
Yes.
might be able to help a little bit. I didn't put this together, but it's all under the meeting. They're all the meeting. I am, because it's all meeting stuff, like, and then it moves to the next one is communication, then to department city manager. That's the way I interpreted it. It was all meeting based, 'cause it's all under the same
Yeah.
thumbnails.
Line statements, those
Yes, I agree.
that's where it's a little, this is a little.
Yes, let me, I think probably the gist of this slide is, is that certain, like who usually serves the citizens are our primary direct line of staff. Police officers, firefighters, and such. Who manages direct line of staff? Department heads, supervisors. Who manages supervisors, department heads? The city manager. Who manages city manager? The board of commissioners. Who manages the board? The citizens. So I guess as we look at that, we were just trying to give some sort of, if you're needing an answer from, a lot of times either go to the chair or go to the city manager or go to a department head, those will be the people that can have the best answers.
Who goes to the chair? We're not allowed to go to the chair because that's
Yeah, that would have to be during a meeting.
but
Right.
the whole board makes the decision. Could use a refresher. As a member of the board. Through, it's gonna. But point blank in the meeting, the mayor. So it's any, yeah. That's what it, well, it's.
Yeah, and okay. Yeah, and the main thing is communication gets out and it's as accurate as possible. Okay. Generally, communication between board and staff should be through the city manager. However, department heads often have detailed and valuable information that I will never be a city manager that says everything's got to go through me. I'm fine. I know I'm fine with department heads speaking to whoever they want to. But we do request an appointment for meeting with the city manager or department heads if you have questions, just so if we're right in the middle of something, we're not putting you off. Communication to staff from multiple sources is usually counterproductive. Just always, just basics. I mean,
Is that for all commissioners, including mayor? Setting up schedules, not just
well, we would appreciate it. I mean, if we've got time, we'll stop what we're doing. If we're not, just cover it up. I mean, it's just courtesy. Role of city manager. The city manager is the administrative head of the municipal government under the direction and supervision of the Board of Commissioners. The city manager is charged with seeing that the laws and ordinance are enforced, attends all meetings of the Board of Commissioners with the right to take part in the discussion but not vote, acts as the budget commissioner, keeps the board advised of the financial condition of the city, and acts as the purchasing agent. The city manager has the sole authority to hire or appoint, promote, demote, suspend, transfer, remove, and discipline all department heads and subordinate employees. The city manager can't talk. The city manager supervises the work of all departments and employees. Let me go back for just a second. Just so y'all know, I've been here with the City of Fairview for 11 years, and 9 years as finance director and 2 years as city manager. And just, I'm gonna go through our departments, and I'm gonna just kind of tell you some of the longevity of some of the folks. Some of the departments, we don't have a lot of longevity, but some we do. City attorney must be an attorney at law entitled to practice in the courts of Tennessee. Fees agreed upon by the Board of Commissioners, directs management of all litigation, represents city in all legal matters, attends the meetings, advises the board, approves all contracts, deeds, bonds, ordinance, etc. One of the things that really, Mr. Carter I feel like has done an excellent job as our city attorney. One of the things that really jumped out at me early on is his land use knowledge and expertise, and I feel like has already served the city well, and I think down the road it's going to continue to reap dividends. Yes.
in reference to this. Advise the board to all legal questions affecting
Emails, anything that affects us legally.
Okay, so just to go back a little bit, last meeting, there was, Mr. Carter was calling point of order many times. Is that not the last line? Or is that?
I think probably that's a technical question. I believe he sometimes steps in to try to get the meeting going in the right direction, if it's getting out of hand.
Legally,
Put the city in a position we don't want to be in. Economic Development Officer, this is a new position. In correlation with the 2040 plan, the city has recently added an economic development position. Patty Carroll promotes and facilitates economic growth and development throughout the city. She supports the creation and retention of businesses and works to enhance the quality of life for city residents. She develops strategies, policies, and plans to enhance the city's economic position. We've already seen quite a bit of benefits from this new position. I guess the biggest one for me right now has been getting back in touch with TDOT and getting Cumberland and 100 back on track. I'm also excited about some of the grant opportunities we may have in the near future.
I'm sorry, Tom, getting TDOT back on track, shouldn't that be
Well, I was involved, but there's a part of the economic development is having the time to get out of the office, get out of the here in the day-to-day operations and meet and represent city interests. And it just depends on, a lot of my job is day-to-day, and it really helps if there are certain individuals that can line things up and get meetings with who we need to meet with. And that's very beneficial.
think it's more about.
I, I believe it's, yeah, I believe it's the 24th.
Yeah.
Next Friday, I think.
RC meetings are online. Watch them if you couldn't get away from work. You can at least see the, only one representative.
All right. Yes. Opportunity to either watch them or be in the meeting online. So you don't always have to go if you're not able to make it, because most of them are during the day. Thanks for the input. The city recorder is Rachel Jones. Y'all know. She's been 6 years of service to the city, not always as a recorder. She is present at all meetings of the Board of Commissioners and keeps a full and accurate record of all business transacted by the Board of Commissioners. She maintains custody of the official city seal, original rolls of ordinance, ordinance books, minutes, contracts, bonds, title deeds, certificates, security bonds, all other bonds, oaths, and all other records that are not required by charter or ordinance to be deposited elsewhere. The recorder also provides certified copies of records, fulfills open records requests, issues business licenses and renewals, issues beer permits, and advertises for meetings and produces public notices. I cannot say enough. Rachel does a great job. Richard Ross is our PIO officer and community relations coordinator. He oversees city events, manages information and disseminates it to the media, public incident, personnel, and other organizations, responds to media inquiries, coordinating press conferences, drafts, press releases, and other written communication, monitors media and community communication, social media, oversees fireworks permits, peddlers permits, and business license. And he assists the city recorder with records requests. He also, if Rachel can't be here, Richard is back up. Well, I'm gonna announce it tonight in my city managers meeting, but when we have events like this snow event, this time he got out and did a video, and he did at least 12 Facebook and Nixle posts, and so it's when things are happening, Richard's still working, and he does a good job. We're really thankful to have him. And these are the events that we have scheduled currently. When Richard really approached me wanting to just really, in fact, he started doing some of it when I was still finance director, but when I became city manager, he really wanted to push the events forward. And I said, well, I feel like I have a hard time talking to a citizen and saying, well, that sure was a good fireworks show, but what are you gonna do about my potholes? And I said, I have a hard time spending tax dollars for a parade or for a fireworks show. I said, if we can get community involvement, we can get community support, and we know that the community's backing us, we can use as little tax dollars as possible. I said, I think that is the way to go. And so we've done that, and all of them pretty much at the end of the year, it's not anything to make money on, but I wanted it to be community backed, and I feel like we've achieved that pretty doggone close. There might be something pop up that puts us over in the red just a little bit, but we're pretty close, and I'm proud of that. Richard does a good job. He's always looking at the numbers and making sure we're not gonna go over. Police department, Chief Humphreys has been our chief for 8 years. He's got 30 years of law enforcement experience. He's been working on the structure probably since he's been here, but we're about there. We've got a special services division, a patrol division, a training division, and a criminal investigation division. And we've just finalized some captains here recently, and I believe we're about to his vision of what he wants to see as far as structure in the police department. And they all do a great job. I mean, it's I've seen days when it was the culture and just the way they treat the community. I'm very proud of that. Let's see. Was it? Okay. Yeah, forget that one. Probably should have removed that other one, Carolyn. Let's see. Their mission is to just relentlessly pursue and provide excellent public service to the community. They do a ton of training. They do just the culture that Chief Humphreys has built is night and day from what I was around in 2013. I think I think I think we're going in the right direction, and I'm very proud to have him as police chief. Also, all of our departments get involved in the community. A couple of big things is Shop with the Cop and drug take-back programs. I believe Shop with the Cop, I believe we were able to provide $11,700 worth of Christmas gifts to children. The fire department always does the pancake breakfast, and I'm very, very tickled. Also, you find Chief, how often y'all do the drug take back?
We do it in conjunction with the DEA, they do it nationally. Take back box outside our door, and then periodically the DA comes in and retrieves all that stuff. So usually it's twice a year through them, but we constantly do that with our drug take back box year round outside our door.
So if you know of anybody that has expired prescriptions or whatever, they can always drop it in that box. I'm going to probably botch it, but I'm really proud of the LISO program. Even before I became city manager, this was just getting off the ground, and I had the fun thing of accounting for it. But basically what this program is it's federal equipment that is just the federal government, for whatever reason, does not want to use, and they set it, and you can bid on it. Well, not really bid, but you can go get it. If you get it, you can bring it back to your municipality, and it has to be unused for a year, and you can either sell it or you can keep it as a city asset. So what we've done is we've been able to raise approximately $100,000 a year with this program and we've used that money to purchase police vehicles. But there's all kinds of some of the stuff they find is amazing. Do you want to add anything on that?
Yeah, this is important. Several years ago, when I became chief, early on, there was a lot of budgetary constraints. We didn't have a lot of money. We had an aging fleet. All the cars were 5 years old. We had no real plan of how to address that. The previous city manager at a meeting said, really, I'm open to whatever you guys can come up with. I was familiar with the LISO. It was, before that was called DRMO. It's demilitarized equipment, and a lot of agencies go out after up-armored equipment, the Humvees or MRAPs for their SWAT teams and stuff like that. But there's a lot of other equipment and things out there. You notice that the lights that you have around, the boom lights for the July 3rd event are all those. They're $10,000 a piece. We have an orange lift that puts up the Christmas decorations. That also is included in there. The command post you saw out there, we've got bulldozers, trucks, trailers, all kinds of stuff. We get equipment that we often use and keep for the city to utilize, and then we sell some of that equipment. We started doing that to sell that equipment. We don't go after the up-armored stuff. We go after stuff that we know we either use or make money off of. And to date, and you'll see that in my yearly slide, we do the BOC meeting. I'll touch on that. It's the year-end kind of recap. To date, we've made $306,000, which equates to about 8 patrol cars that the city doesn't have to come off with. Plus, we have a lot of equipment around we use. So it's a very, very good program for us. We've got into it early on where we were able to manage. We were able to get a few trucks and trailers and forklifts so we could handle the equipment, the moving and transport of that stuff. So we've become pretty efficient at it. We've had a couple years that there's a downturn some years, and I'm not saying this from a political stance, but historically, when there's a Republican president, there's a lot more equipment available. When there's a Democratic president, it tapers back. They put a few more restrictions on it. We had a few years that the totals dipped down a little bit, and there wasn't much available. last year, we got back active again, and we anticipate that the coming years, there'll be a lot more of that stuff out there that we're able to go get.
Thank you, Chief. This fire department, Chief Hughes has been with the city for 12 years. He's a longtime resident, lifer. He's had been 7 years as chief. They have a training officer, 3 shifts, and a fire marshal. And I just want to plug that this is our most veteran department. All 3 shift captains have 20-plus years' experience. And a kid, one of them, Kyle Jones, is I played football with in high school, and he was a sophomore my senior year. And anyway, he was one of them that I asked him if I just had a grandchild here recently, and I said I started to call you, because he was one of those that helped deliver that child, and I guess it was on the side of the road, I guess, pretty much. Oh, so 2. Okay, well, I didn't know he had 2. I'll have something else to kid him about. The fire department, Chief Hughes, he's a great leader. The guys rally around him, but one of the best things is and in the police as well, I never am concerned about them getting in their training. They're always trained, and in fact, their training hours is always more than what is the minimum. And that kicks me into, I just want to speak a little bit about maybe we did finish one bond project of the training tower out there. And if you get a chance to go out there, it's really neat. And we've had other municipalities come in and try to copy it because it's such a good system. And our guys designed it, what they wanted, how we want it, and it's really good. I'll let Chief talk about benefits, but it's really awesome. I don't know where you could go to get live burn training, and we can right here at our fire station. So that's pretty awesome. I'm just going to read their mission. The mission of Fairview Fire is to provide a range of programs designed to protect the lives and property of residents of our city from adverse effects of fires, medical emergencies, and exposure to dangerous conditions. And I will say that since I've been here, and Chief, tell me if I'm wrong, but about 75% of the calls are usually medical. And we have a lot of mutual aid. And one of the things we've really tried to do during this administration is enhance relationships with not only state representatives and TDOT and other places, but also the county. We're working with them on a lot of stuff. Right now, the exciting thing out there is a mutual aid that we're going to expand I guess that's the northern border, and maybe decrease our southern border a little bit. But that we do a lot of mutual aid, and I think financially it's going to benefit us. Chiefs has been negotiating and very good, and hopefully we'll be bringing some things to you that make sense with mutual aid or with collaboration with the county. Okay, I'm going to give. I wanted to tell you. Ben told me, he said, "Can I please do the rest of the meetings forever?" And Ben will have been with us 2 years with the city in April, and he's been like a sponge. One of the requirements is to get your certified financial municipal financial officer designation within 2 years, and he did that in 11 months. He's just a sponge. He's learning. And he took on a lot of the audit this year. We're still working on bank recs and budget. So we'll, but it's, Mr. Hall, it's a lot different than when I got here. I'll tell you that right now. Well, yeah. Well, I mean, it's just, it's a different time. I do want to give Sharon Hall a plug. She's not here, but she has 22 years of service with the city, and she is our finance clerk. And she is out sick as well. But the finance department provides administrative and managerial functions involving accounts receivable, accounts payable, accounts reconciliations, general ledger, fixed assets, annual audit, employee onboarding, payroll, and benefits and risk and insurance. The finance department helps ensure city, state, and federal financial compliance. One thing is we go through, we have to turn in our budget, whether it's amended or the actual budget, to the state comptroller. They have to approve it, and then every year we have an audit, and we have to have an outside auditor. They come in and we turn that in to the state comptroller, reviews that, and so we feel like we're under the microscope all the time. So it's really good, and it keeps you on your toes. Correct. Municipal court, it's an odd department because both people supposedly in charge are elected. You got your elected judge; they're elected to an 8-year term. You got your elected court clerk, who has a 4-year term, and then we provide some support staff, which is the deputy court clerk and the clerk administrative assistant. So we actually pay the elected folks, but as far as they aren't hired, I guess they're elected. Court is held twice a month on Thursdays at 8 a.m. The city of Fairview has a city court with concurrent general session powers. The court hears not only traffic and ordinance violations, but also misdemeanor cases. Fines may be paid in person at City Hall or by phone. I know Gina put that in there. We're one of the few courts and municipal courts in the state that still has general session powers. And if you have any questions on that, I know Chief, there's some days I'm like, why are we doing this? And then there's other days I talk to Chief and Chief Humphreys, and I'm talking, it can be very beneficial to the city. I think we've got some places to grow there, but we got to the point, if you get rid of it, then all you have is traffic court. And then that's what most cities have gone to, and people go to the counties for general sessions. And we don't see big cases, just misdemeanor cases. Public Works. I heard the saying today, the small but mighty department. We have hired a few folks and turned over. This is a struggle. We're having trouble keeping folks, or it's just a labor intensive type work. Todd Bratcher has been with the city for 19 years. I really rely on him a lot. He knows where every sewer line is, every utility. He's hands on. He's involved. If you ever met him, you just know he's really into what he does. But I'm gonna give a plug with him tonight in my city manager report too. I feel like now, granted, this was you know, a wet snow, you know, a 32, 31, 32, 33, which is the easiest to get off. But man, they had my road clear in no time. And I was like, he's also one of those that is always trying to build relationships with TDOT, with different organizations to help. I've heard that people are worried about our salt supply. Todd will never let us run out of salt. We have plenty of salt, so he's always on top of those things, and I really appreciate Todd and the whole public works crew. They work really hard. And these are some of these are basically most of their services, but you know, that tree and snow removal, we also had a issue about a couple of trees this week, and those are up. So they stay busy, and I think for the amount of people, we're always looking to grow that department, but you have to grow it with the right people, and it's difficult. Sometimes you can't it's not one of those things where you can just plug somebody in, you know, and because you put them out there directing traffic, and you can't have somebody, you know, getting hurt. Ethan Greer is sick. He went to the doctor and he tested positive for the flu. So he sent me some little verbiage here. I'm gonna go through. The Planning and Codes Department is headed by our city planner, Ethan Greer, who oversees the building inspector, community services administrator, permit tech, and our planning and engineering consultants. I'm gonna say a little bit something about codes and planning. Ethan will be here 2 years in July. And when he got here, he had one employee, Maria, held on and stayed with us. We lost 2 engineers. We lost director. We lost a codes inspector. And so she was down there, and Ethan has just pulled it all together. And they're doing excellent work. We're just about through with the ordinance rewrite. I think that's going to be a game changer. And I really appreciate Griggs and Maloney. They're providing planning support, engineer support. And it's just, I feel like, yes, nothing's perfect, but I feel like we've come a long way very quickly. And I'm excited about what's going to keep happening in the codes and planning. Ethan's going to be mad, but I'm just going to buzz through these. The procedures, this is kind of what they do on the left. They have to go by these regulatory documents. And then they took out, this is not the right one.
Well,
Okay.
they're slightly different, but it has.
All right, on the regulatory documents, on mine, I've got the wrong one. The 2040 Fairview Forward is a guiding document, not a regulatory document. So it's a plan. It's, you know, it's something that we're shooting for, but it's not regulatory. So the rest of those is what they go by when making their recommendations to the planning commission, or when it comes back up to you guys. They also use the 2040 plan as a guiding document. Next, these are ethical principles that of the planning process, and he just wanted to put that in there. This is what they try to go by when they're doing all their work. Says the role of the planning commission is to hear requests and render decisions to provide recommendations on proposed developments and projects. The decision is rendered utilizing the regulatory documents of the city of Fairview. The planning commission adopts the subdivision regulations, design review manual, and the planning commission bylaws. The role of the Board of Commissioners is to hear requests and render decisions on zoning changes and annexations accompanied by a recommendation from the planning commission based on how the request fits our regulations. The Board of Commissioners adopts the zoning regulations and the municipal code of the city of Fairview. Okay. Parks. Keith Paisley has been here for 25 years. You just celebrated that this year, didn't you? Or am I a year behind? The Parks Department took the biggest hit during COVID and during, I mean, it seemed like, and we've been, one of the things we've been trying to do is rebuild the park, get programs back going, get some money going through the park, and we've made some inroads. But Keith's another one of those, kind of like Todd. If you have a question, he's probably got it somewhere in his office. And I was asked him, somebody was wanting the 2008 an economical, ecological report done by Jeff Duke and CEC back in 2008. And I had looked everywhere, couldn't find it. And I emailed Keith, and about 15 minutes later, he comes walking up there with it. So it's good to have folks like that. That I think Keith knows everything about this City Hall building, about where every wire is. But anyway, I'm gonna run through. They do a great job right now. We've got 2 part-time park rangers, program coordinator Bree. I'm gonna go to this next one. Does a great job. This is Bowie Park. I'll get to you back in a minute, Bree. They're open 5 to 10. Always been the crown jewel. Back when I was in high school, we called it Bowie Land, but it's really nice to have the playground pretty much fixed, done. You know, we've got a little bit of tweaking to do, but it's really a nice park, and a lot of people come from miles around to visit. Park programs. Bree Bailey does an excellent job here. We've just started back. This is the first year we've had programs. What do you say, Keith, in 4 or 5 years? 3 years? 4. So, you know, it's really good to get that back going. I know my kids went through the park programs and just loved it. So it's good. It's a good memory too for folks to let their kids go through that stuff. And then Veterans Memorial Park, we're trying to find ways to utilize that more. Right now, we're doing the fishing rodeo there, and there might be a couple other little events, but we're going to try to focus on ways to get that going a little more. Also, Historical Village, we're working right now with Kimley Horn on a design of to enhance Historical Village. We're working to get a farmer's market and amphitheater in there. Just a design. We're looking at funding down the road, but it's exciting. I know a lot of people have been trying to get things done there for a long time. We're just trying to inch forward on that. Boards. These are the boards at Fairview. We've got Planning Commission, Board of Zoning Appeals, Parks and Landscape Board, and the Beer Board, which is the Board of Commissioners. It hadn't always been that way. Y'all can change that. But, you know, all the Board of Commissioners appoints the members to all these boards. This is the city website. We have staff and board contacts, employment opportunities, city calendar, meeting agendas and packets, meeting minutes, forms, reports, search option, video archive, sign up for automatic updates on postings. And if anybody ever see something that needs to be updated, just send to Richard or Rachel or myself, hey, this needs to be updated, and we'll look into it. This one, we should have adjusted a little bit. TML used to be provide our insurance, but now they got transferred over to Public Entity Partners. But this is a lobbyist type group that state legislative information that affects municipalities can be found. So it may be, if you're wondering what law you want to look up on a law, you can probably go on this link and find it. MTAS is a tremendous resource for virtually all municipal government questions. There's a link on here as well for that. And lastly, we about got through this. We've got the links right here for the Fairview city website, the City of Fairview Charter, the City of Fairview 2040 Plan, the City of Fairview Parks Master Plan, the City of Fairview codes, and I'm gonna go back to that in a minute. The City of Fairview Design and Review Manual. The City of Fairview codes, it was just updated this past year, and that is a compilation of all city ordinances in one binder. And it's not 100%, but it's pretty doggone close. So it's a good reference to have. And I am going, that is all we have. Rachel is going to email you a link with this. What I wanted, my vision was y'all to have something that gave you basic information, but also had links that you could go out and get what you wanted. So, but Rachel's going to email that out tomorrow, and we've got a little bit of time if y'all want to. We'll entertain some questions.
We're open to questions if you have anything.
details.